Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop, and today I have a special guest on the line. My guests have her own show called Living and Thriving with Rustie, and she also is the author of the book Having Tea with My Skeletons. Ladies and gentlemen, Rustie Macdonald, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Coop, for having me on today. It was a little bit of a long commute to get here, but we finally made it happen.
Yes. We went through all the technical difficulties and everything, so thank goodness we have this show on, and we're going to actually electrify this show like we can never have done before. Now, on this show, Rustie, just to let you know, we talk about how people start in their career, their success, and they give advice. But always on my show, we always start from the beginning. So how did you come up with the idea of the show, Living and Thriving with Rustie?
Ooh, that's exciting, actually, because I very much believe in the universe, and sometimes God likes to smack me really hard with a 2x4 because I'm kind of stubborn and scrappy. And last year, I'm going through custody battle and an ugly post-divorce. It's amazing how after 4 years it still just hasn't completely finished yet. And it's very difficult for me to travel right now. And being a creator and an inventor, I was like, how am I going to get myself out there? How can I spread myself out wider, make a bigger impact without actually having to get on a jet plane? And I woke up with almost this sweaty moment, literally like that. I jumped out of bed. I'm going, oh, my God, I used to DJ in high school or college. I held a radio cast every Saturday night in college, and everybody loved it. Why can't I do radio the same way that I motivationally speak? And so I researched, and voila, Blog Talk Radio was born. 2 days later, and my first guest was my personal life coach, Ian Wattring, out of Baltimore. And I think I had maybe 5 or 6 friends listening for the first couple of months. Now I'm over 200,000 international.
Wow.
It was God's a jokester. He's funny. He's got jokes.
Oh yes,
he's got jokes.
Definitely.
So he had to hit me in the head with one of those dreams, and it's really become really quite powerful and impactful. And the guests have been amazing. It's been such a wonderfully humbling ride.
Wow. Now speaking about your guests. Now, who are some of the guests? I know you mentioned your first guest on your show, but who are some of your other guests that actually came on your show?
Oh, my, insane. I've had one of my favorite guests, just because I love his work, and he's got a great personality, too. Don't let me undermine him, is Bob Berg. He is a famous author. I've had, let's see, actually tomorrow the show's on, and I have Brian Benson, who is a speaker, and this duathlon strange fella who runs all the way across the country. Can't wait to learn more about him, but he's an actor and a writer, and his work is very inspirational and beautiful. I've had scientists on, I've had naturalists on, priests on, reverends on, shamanic healers. I've had many authors. I've had people who have lost their children. I've had, it's a wide variety of mind, body, and soul.
That is a great thing, and it seems like your viewership is going up big time. That's a tremendous jump. Starting off with 6 listeners, and now you have this big number of followers that's listening to you. I applaud you for that. Yes, very incredible. Now, have you heard from?
Oh, I was going to say, as you know, Coop, the Blog Talk Radio numbers are so difficult to really quantify and determine. But I get frequently, one of the things that makes it even more humbling, and you really don't know how far something like this reaches, is I'll get emails from different countries, people in different countries that had heard the radio show and wanted to learn more. And that's really inspiring.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it really is, because you don't actually, and as you know, because you see the reports as well, it doesn't really say, 15 people in Argentina and 72 in Chile, and it doesn't tell you where. It just says, how many live lessons and how many people have downloaded. And that's it.
That's true, and
pretty intense.
And Rustie, it has to be mind-boggling when you open up that email and you see where that person is from, and they're saying thank you very much for the show, even if it's local. It's great to know that someone is listening and you're actually helping a person where they need to be helped at. And that's what I was going to talk about next at the same time. Now, when you receive these emails and everything, do you know how much success has people have from listening to your show? How much have you heard from people that said, thank you, you've changed my life, or thank you, this is interesting news, and, the big thank yous? How much success have came through your show?
It's brought me to my knees.
Wow.
It's been pretty. It reaches out so far, because you can even download me on iTunes, but that has I can't trace that. So
right.
People forward my information and they listen that way, or they go on my website and they listen to that, but I have no way to trace who, what, when, or where. So I just let it go. I don't even look at the reports anymore. I'm done with that, because the feedback that I get, I went from 300, 400 fans on Facebook. I'm over 8,000 now. And that's, exactly. It just happened. So when I start self-doubting and I start questioning if I'm on the right path, then God does what God does, the universe does what the universe does, and I get this incredible, keep up the good work, you're doing a great job, from who knows who this person is. But they know me. So it's a very interesting world to live in, because in some ways I'm in a fishbowl, and I don't really know who's seeing me, and I don't know who's listening to my story. And frankly, for the most part, I only think it's you and me.
That's what it seemed like at times.
Yeah, it really does, because usually, especially because we're both midday shows, most people are just working and they're cheating and sneaking us at work, So we don't really know the immediate impact, but I can tell you from experience, and this is year 2, the residual impact is humbling beyond measure. There was a few months ago when it really brought me to my knees. There was a priest in Argentina, and he struggles with his English, but he gets most of what I talk about on the show, and every now and then he thanks me.
That has to be a great feeling.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And it's not that I'm doing anything special or different than anybody else. It's just I'm a very curious person, and I've always been a curious person. And I just love all kinds of people. I just see the divinity in everybody. And this is a great forum and a format in order to reach out to a variety of people, just everyday people. And some of the people that I've had on the show are actually, famous and stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool. But it's not, they're just so humble and so sweet. And then you look at their bio and you're like, oh my God, they worked with Oprah Winfrey. That's so cool. Right. But that's not the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show is to talk about adversity, to talk about healing, to talk about transformation, to talk about encouraging you to be the wonderful person you are, because we live in a world inundated with fear. And it's working. And I can't be more grateful to be a messenger, because it's really all I am, is like this networker messenger person who brings great people together, and just watch it grow.
Well, please don't stop, because I want you to keep up the good work, because you're reaching to hundreds to thousands, and this is something that a lot of people need. When people are down, they don't know where to turn to. Of course, prayer always works, but when you want to hear it verbally at the same time, they can tune right into you, and they can find some of your shows that you've done in the past, and they can say, wow, I never thought about doing this, or I never thought about it in this conception. So that is a great thing that you're doing. Yes.
It's humbling though, because I honestly, in some respects, am very selfish, because I put the show together because I want to learn about people. I want to, and I'm doing it in radio format because I know that there's other people out there that could learn too. So it's amazing how this has grown to the point where I actually have a big announcement when you're ready. I'm growing. I'm on TV now, and my big announcement is I'm actually putting together a documentary on homelessness in the U.S.
Wow.
And I don't see myself being any different than anybody else in the sense of just being human. I just tend to be a little scrappy and loud and curious and loud, I guess.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it.
I want to know. No.
It's definitely nothing wrong with that at all. Now, where do you see the success of your show 5 years from now?
Wow. My goal, I'm actually currently hiring a marketing person to help me, because it's become so big that I need help now, which is interesting. I never thought it would be that either. But my goal is to have it 5 days a week. I mean, I placed one ad for guests, and in a weekend, Karen, my assistant, received over 500 emails requesting to be on the show. Now, when you only do one show a week, as you know, that's 52 weeks, really 50, because you have 2 weeks where your day is going to fall on some holiday.
Right.
That's 50 people. So there's two ways of looking at this. I can either, add more shows, of which I need sponsorship to do, or I'm booked for the next 5 years. Imagine. I mean, think about it. I mean, literally, I'm booked for the next 5 years. So,
you're right. No time to rest.
So, so I added Sunday nights. So I'm Sunday night and Wednesday night, and that offers 2 slots for people, but we're still getting inundated. There's a young lady in California. She's a junior in high school who just emailed us the other day, and she heard about the radio show, and she's really got some amazing things that she's doing as a junior in high school for other people. And of course I'm going to have her on the show, So now I'm going, okay, well, if we continue this path and we continue this level of playing, so to speak, I'm going to have to go 5 days a week, and I'm still booked for 5 years. So
wow.
It's humbling, it's amazing, it's awesome, and it really is everybody who listens, because the show's success is really based on the listeners. And when the listeners go, oh, my God, you have to listen to so-and-so show, that's how we become successful. So my gratitude is definitely in the listeners and the people that believe in me and believe in what I do and why I do it. It's awesome.
And see, that's a good thing, because a lot of people, when they start getting to a big popularity and they're starting to get known, they start to, quote-unquote, ego trip. And they start to get a big head. And it seems like you're still keeping everything normal, and you're keeping everything to where it's supposed to be. You're keeping yourself down to earth. That's one thing that I do commend you on.
It's really hard not to when you're talking to somebody who's had cancer 4 times and is happy and joking with you. It's really hard when you're talking to a mother whose child was killed. So it's hard not to be humble, because the stories are so impactful, not just for the audience, but for me too. I thank God every day that we're healthy and we're moving forward. we have our skin needs and we go through our stuff. But, you know, I know too many people who've had way more. So the show actually in itself keeps my ego in check, just because of the content. I mean, I just couldn't imagine being anything other than amazed and humbled by the incredible people I have on.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Now, we've heard about your show. Now, Rustie, you're more than just your show. Now, here's one thing that I've learned about you also, and I want to know about this myself. Could you please explain the Macdonald marketing concepts?
Macdonald marketing concept. So, truth be known, I opened up a marketing arm, which actually pays for our food and our rent and all of that stuff. So that's my financial umbrella. And what I've done over the last 20 years is sales, marketing, and event management. So I'm usually the person at the grocery store who's serving you samples, or the person at a trade show handing you a coupon or a brochure, or somebody who stands up on stage to present a company and their messaging. So that's my paid working side, is sales, marketing, and event management. And so that's what Macdonald marketing is.
Wow. Hey, put it in a nutshell, that's a great thing, because I believe that actually it kind of helps you out for your show at the same time. Because when you're actually marketing, you know, you're meeting new people. Right. And, you know, that's a time that you can actually bring up your show. And if you see someone in need, you know, you can help them out. They can be like, wow, this was a blessing in disguise. Now, here's one thing I want to ask you about also. It's kind of tying in with the marketing concept and also your show. Now, do you feel like that it's easier or harder to receive sponsors for an internet radio show compared to any other type of show?
Well, I honestly, to be honest with you, I wasn't going to have sponsors. I didn't want to derail the conversation, and you know, when I like to run the show as though we're sitting on the couch having a glass of wine or a cup of coffee. We're just chilling, we're chillaxing, we're enjoying our time together as a regular conversation. And I find that sometimes when you have to interrupt that conversation, excuse me, I'm going to do a commercial break.
Very true.
You know, it's like going on your first date and being like, oh, excuse me, I got to call my wife. Boom. What are you doing? So, you know, I've been very reluctant to offer sponsorships. I lost my major marketing contract in January of this year. So in order for the show to survive, I have to have sponsors. So I'm just learning what that means and what that entails, and I've been sticking my toes into it. So I'm not sure. I do know that individuals tend to go internet radio. That's kind of weird. But some of the younger, you know, 30 and younger, they know what Blog Talk Radio is. They know what internet radio is. Pandora, you know, who doesn't work at Pandora or iHeartRadio? So it's the same concept. It's just wrapping some of the people who are not technologically inclined their heads around it.
Very true, very true. And that is like kind of a weird feeling when you're on internet radio and you're in the middle of the conversation and the conversation is getting very interesting. And then you say, we'll be back after this commercial break. You know, it's not television. And you be like, no, don't stop now. And it's like you're losing the vibe and the groove of everything that's going on. And then you come back and the person that's listening to you, and let me take time for a commercial break. No, I'm just playing. No commercial breaks on this show. I just want to say, everyone, there's no commercial breaks. Is listening live right now. And, of course, you all know that because you all been following me faithfully. I do want to say you have to check out Rustie's show. You have to check out and continue to check out this show. Commercial breaks will kill a vibe. I will say that right now. It will kill a mood. It will kill a vibe. Yes, some shows do need sponsors, but
I've been doing a commercial break in the middle of the show, usually about halfway. I try to get the conversation to wind down where it's an appropriate place to switch hats. And it's been going okay. It hasn't been perfect, but it definitely has been going okay. But
if you're doing
again,
it at the spot you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. So you're doing it at the spot you're supposed to, but some people that I've heard, they be in the middle of a hot topic, very in the middle, and it's at the climax, and then boom, does your dog needs neutering? I'm like, what? I mean, you can't just throw that stuff out there. Seriously. I mean, I be into it. I'm listening hard, and then no, we're not talking about neutering dogs. Why is this in my ear right now? So I mean, that's what I was saying is aggravating if you don't know where to put it at. It really is.
Well, and I've had actually on the same neutering dog conversation. I hard at maintaining my branding in a comfortable, trustworthy, spiritually driven, not one denomination, but all denominations, you know. And there are certain organizations that have reached out. They want me to sponsor them, and I've had to deny them because they're so far different than the messaging that I believe in that I won't sponsor them or have them on my show. And that's branding 101, marketing 101. You know, I love dogs, and I'm a huge dog fan. But I don't know necessarily if talking about somebody's child who has sickle cell anemia and a dog neutering
exactly
appropriate. You know, if you wanted to talk about like sickle cell anemia donations, whatever, that's totally appropriate. Or Reiki or massage therapy or something that's a little bit more in tune with the topic. None I'm game, but
you're right.
Yeah. It's just that's bad marketing, I think.
Very true. Now, Rustie, we're going to get on to another topic at hand that a lot of people want to hear about, and if they don't know about this, they're about to learn something very new and interesting. Now, there's another side to you also, Ms. Macdonald, that's besides doing the marketing and your show. Let's talk about this book, Having Tea with My Skeletons. Let's talk about it. How did that come up hand, and tell us about the book.
Well, I will start out with the book is based on my life from birth till now, how I've gone through what I've gone through in life, why I do what I do. Adversity is part of life. Changes are part of life, and it deals a lot with poverty, severe poverty, abuse, neglect, toxic marriage, divorce, trying to date again after 20 years. Can you imagine what weirdness I'm going through? This is crazy. Like, you know, you don't invite anybody to come and pick you up to your house anymore because it could be, you know, some stalker weirdo.
Very true.
So, you know, it's just very different, and the chivalry is different. And so it's the story of who I am, where I came from, growing up, you know, extremely poor, and how I just can't stay mad at anybody, and how I just purely love and want to do everything that I can for other people. So it's kind of a sad story. It's very vivid. It's I've made my test readers cry, and it wasn't intentional to make them cry, but it's that visual for people, and people can relate to it. I'm just, you know, I'm a regular person with similar story to most people. I mean, what is it? 800,000 people are abused in this country, and you know, I just happen to be one of them. But again, back to being that cute little loud, scrappy redhead. I talk a lot, and this is just another way. This is another way for me to share my story and say, you know what? Yeah, sometimes it sucks and you're going to be in crappy situations, but guess what? We can do this together and get out of it. because I'm all about doing it together.
Wow.
If you're going through something really, really powerful and painful and yucky, and for whatever reason, because God's got a joke, always has a joke, and somehow God lines you up with somebody else that's going through something similar, even if it's a flash or a TV show or some message. There's always a message if you pay attention. That helps you get out of that situation. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It really does. And, there's a lot of books out here where you can read and it feels like it's not real. It's like someone looked online about a subject and they just typed it up and said, look what I published. You're going through real-life situations where you're actually expressing yourself in your book. And
right.
That's one thing that you can't be. I feel that if you're going to write a book and you say you've been through it, make sure it comes from the heart. And that's one thing from talking to you today.
Let's put you through it.
Right. and that's one thing that we need. I mean, I'm tired of reading the books where it says, oh, I know someone has been beaten for 40 years straight, and they survived it. Now look how strong I am. What do you mean how strong you are? You didn't go through it. And, I'm tired of reading those type of books. You're actually putting your scenario in there, and you're expressing to the world, hey, I survived this, and you can too.
Well,
and that's what we need.
I've had a lot of controversy with it already, which is really intriguing to me, is that there is a group of individuals, there's a school of individuals who have actually not even read the book, but have already placed judgment, which is really intriguing. And as you become more popular and more known, there's a lot of individuals that seem to just
different ways for people try to get your attention. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. That's what I like the way you put that. And some people feel like, when I was growing up, abuse was something that was right behind the door. But when you open that door, when you open your front door, you were sunshine and daisies. It didn't matter. Because if you weren't sunshine, and I grew up in the South, and, you do not mess with a Southern mama at all.
Very true. Very true.
Nothing. And there's no regard.
Where can they get this book?
Huh?
Where can they actually get the book?
I am in the 5th edit now, and we should be ready on the presses by June and rolling out, if not sooner, but I'm on my 5th edit. I actually had an artist, Christine, I think is her name. I'll have to look her up again. She came up with this beautiful book cover that you'll see on Facebook when you go on. I think you're my Facebook friend now, so you'll actually see the cover she did. It's incredible. She really hit the nail on the head with it. So we're just in that process of putting all of that together.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Now, for our final question, because we're about to run out of time, what advice would you give anyone that wants to start their own show or learn, to grow in the marketing field or entrepreneur?
Oh, my favorite 5 points. Point 1, make a plan, because you're going to break the plan, but make the plan anyway. Write it down. Have a deadline. Become so sickly passionate about it that you eat, breathe, sleep, and think about it all the time. Have it drip off your lips. Have it sweat out your pores when you're at the gym or not at the gym. You want this, and you feel it, and you hunger it. 5, understand that most people that are closest to you are not going to support you. So make sure that you stay focused and do not get distracted. If you want it, make it happen, because the only person that can is you.
Wow. Very, very, very true. And Ms. Macdonald, I want to say it was a pleasure speaking to you today. And for all of your fans that's listening, and of course mine, I want to say thank you. You stay tuned to both of these shows. Make sure you do that. And also, Ms. Macdonald, can you tell everyone today where they officially just got their scoop?
Hello?
Yes, can you officially tell everyone where they officially just got their scoop?
They got their scoop from Coop.
There you go. All right. Thank you very much. And Ms. Macdonald, you have a great day. And thank you again from the Big Scoop with Coop.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.